I request him to take charge of the session and interact with all of you on the important aspect quality assurance in technical education.
Dear friends, a very warm good morning to everybody. I hope you are fresh. I hope you are fresh after a cup of tea.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Very good morning, very good morning. Professor Tulsi has organized the program wonderfully. That's what I understand. And mine is the last session. I hope you are not fed up by this time by listening. And you are fresh for this particular session also. Well, my dear friends, quality is, if I look at my topic, quality assurance in technical education system, it comprises of 2, 3, 4 words: quality, assurance, technical education, and system. Technical education you are into, you are imparting on day-to-day basis. That is your profession. System, you are a part of it. Assurance is a very general kind of a term. I assure you I would do this for you, and so on. Quality is a term which we use in almost each and every dialogue of ours whenever we try to define a product, talk of a product, talk of a commodity, talk of services, name in anything. You go to a restaurant, the quality of food was not good. Go to your college mess or canteen, you haven't cooked well, quality is not good. You buy electronic product, you buy a mobile, Apple has got a better quality. In electronics, Sony has got a better quality. In shoes, Bata has got a quality. You name any product, hotels, Taj Hotel, they give the best of the quality. Then there is a point of argument. A says, for me, Sony is a good product. B says, no, LG is a good product. A says, Apple phone is the best. B says, Samsung is the best. What is the quality? That is a question which we need to reply. Various authors, various management gurus, various production people have interpreted this quality term in their own manner. Some people say quality means error-free product. If a product has no errors, it is quality. Some people say if a product meets to the desired specifications, then it is a quality product. Some people say if the product specifications are repeatable in nature, it is a quality product. Everybody is defining in its own manner. One of the definition is the ability to make something same way over and over again. That is the quality. What customer buys today is same what they bought last week or they will buy next week. Product meets customer expectations 100% of the time. These are some of the definitions which are available in the books. My dear, quality to some extent is a relative concept. Relative for both services as well as for the product. Now, let me also talk a little bit of technical education system, and then we try to relate quality assurance with reference to the technical education system. What is technical education system? In terms of tiers of technical education, at bottom level it's industrial training, at a little higher level it's a polytechnic, at again third step is the degree engineering, fourth step is the postgraduate and the PhD programs. In terms of hierarchical structure of technical education system, these are the 4 steps or the levels. If I look at the basket or the ambit of technical education system, then in terms of AICT, I brief down it as engineering and technology, management, pharmacy, architecture, computer applications, applied art and craft. These are the areas which are the ambit of the technical education system. In terms of size of technical education system in Indian context, it's huge. More than 12,000 colleges imparting various programs at various levels. In terms of regional system, southern states density is too high. Northern states density is above average. Eastern states or northeastern states density is below average. In particular, Bihar and Jharkhand, if I'm not wrong, maybe at the lowest ebb, and to some extent maybe J&K. In terms of governance of the system, at national level there is All India Council for Technical Education, which is the overarching body controlling the entire gamut of technical education. At state level we have directorates of technical education. We have universities of technical universities or the affiliating universities. We have few of the autonomous colleges, few of the deemed universities, and so on. In terms of private and public participation, we can put it as of now more than 85% of the technical education at degree and postgraduate level is controlled by private sector, 15% by government sector or public supported systems. At diploma level, the ratio may be 60-40 private and public. At the level of ITI, the government support is on the higher side, maybe something like 80% and 20% is the private participation. Nowadays, in common parlance, you talk to anybody, talk to any individual, the common refrain is, what is happening to technical education quality? What these boys and girls would do when they come out of the college. Now, why in last 10 years people had been talking in such a manner? If we look at the pre-2000 kind of a situation, engineering admission was a kind of a degree in itself. If somebody is able to make an admission in degree engineering colleges, he was, wow, what you have got. But today, admission to engineering college, people say it's difficult to get a BCom admission vis-a-vis engineering education. What has transpired? What has happened? The cutoff criteria has been lowered down. The bar has been lowered for admissions. The number of availability of seats is high vis-a-vis number of candidates available. If you look at the example of Haryana, there are 60,000 plus seats in the state of Haryana for engineering and technology bachelors, and around 18,000 students appear in the 10+2 examination with the sciences. And if I'm not wrong, this kind of situation is almost applicable to almost every state, maybe except for Delhi, where the number of seats are less than the number of candidates appearing. Is this the reason of lowering of the quality, or there are some other reasons? Now I come to the constitution of a technical education system. Irrespective of any kind of a system, whether it is a manufacturing system, education system, sports system, you take any unit for your understanding. There is an input, there are some processes, there is output. For manufacturing, the raw material is the input, processes are machining, filing, polishing, packing. Outcome is the particular finished product. For a technical education system, student is the raw material which gets into the system. Then there are processes which we apply during the 4-year program in institution. And then it is the outcome product or a finished engineer who goes into the market for placement or entrepreneurship or anything or higher education and so on. what are my processes in an institution? If I try to classify broadly, I have a pedagogy, curriculum planning, curriculum design, curriculum implementation, classroom teaching and learning, laboratory instructions, project. What components play a role during the academic processes? The infrastructure of a laboratory, the infrastructure of computer center, the infrastructure of library. When I talk of infrastructure, not only physical infrastructure in terms of brick and mortar, I'm talking of equipment, instruments, apparatus, accessories, plus the major most component, faculty or the human resource or the instructors. When I talk of faculty, I include the supporting staff or the laboratory staff to support grassroots operations. Now, just have a look at the IIT. What input IIT is getting? The top la la cream of the entire country. The first 1500 or 2000 students out of 12 lakh appearing in the AIEEE or JEE IIT Advanced and so on, joining your IIT technical education system. Then after the IIT, the preference is NIT, BITS Pilani, and few of the other state level prestigious institutions, maybe Punjab Engineering College, maybe Thapar, maybe Delhi College of Engineering, and so on. Then the next state level institutions, few of the self-financing institutions, and rest of the lot then goes to the self-financing institutions. What does it mean? The input material, the raw material is the best in the lot for IIT system, second to best for NITs and equally placed institutions, and the remaining lot of students come to other institutions of the country. What does it mean? It means my input is the best to the prestigious institutions. Even if I apply my academic processes at normal level, my product is going to be good. Look at the next level of NIT and the other equally placed institutions. There is a little decline in the level or the quality of students. It means if I have to match the product of IIT, I have to have better academic processes to make my product at parity with the IIT. Now look at the third system for which we all today who are interacting are a part of it. That is only the balance institution input which is joining self-financing institutions. The level of the input has gone down. If I want to match the product of IIT, I have to make more than 100% effort. If I want to match the product of NIT or equally placed institutions, I may have to deliver my 100%. If I don't deliver, then my product is going to be bad. Why? Because my input or raw material was already bad. I failed to apply my processes optimally. How my product can be good? And that is the public perception which is being talked about everywhere. Now question arises, how to have the rightful academic processes? As I told earlier, academic processes are constituted of what? The human resource, faculty and supporting staff, laboratory apparatus, equipment, and so on. Do we have best of the faculty with ourselves? Do we have best of physical infrastructure with ourselves? If the answer is positive, answer is yes, then am I utilizing in the rightful manner? Is my curriculum design is optimal? Am I delivering the rightful width and depth of the knowledge? Then my curriculum delivery, how I am delivering in the classroom situation, what is my lesson planning, what is my communication skill, what is my pitch, what is my volume, what is my individual understanding of the heterogeneous group which I am facing, what kind of attention I am giving to 60 odd students, am I able to solve their problems, am I using the educational aids, then learning resources, what my library comprises of, do I have online journals, do I have latest journals, do I have all latest reference books, do I have good quality textbooks, then kind of problems which I am giving to my students. Are they forced to go to library, or they may merely click on the net and come out with a solution? It's not something in isolation, it's a collective thing. When every faculty member, up to best of its ability, his knowledge domain, trying to deliver the best in context of the participating students or the group which you are interacting into. Now here again, some of the factors are beyond your and mine control, because we are a part and parcel of the affiliating system. Affiliating system means the curriculum is set by some third party affiliated university, and we are bound to deliver within the boundaries of that curriculum in most of the places. Although of late the universities are also getting wise in focusing on the curriculum revision on regular basis, but still even the regular base period is somewhere 3 years, somewhere 5 years, somewhere 10 years, and technology is changing so fast that shelf life of any technology or product has reduced to half, especially if you look at the ICT and electronic based product. Every 3 months you find a new mobile in the market, new camera in the market. Daily 100 odd applications are added to any product. Are we keeping the pace in those terms? Look at another important aspect. Student is entering into the system at X point of time, and when he is moving out, he is moving out at X plus 4. And when I say the life of technology has reduced to a half, and in some cases even to the 3-month period, so just look at what all you are teaching him today after 4 years, whether that has got any utility, that has got any application. I am already late by 3 years when I started delivering, because my curriculum was designed 3 years back. And when he's coming out, there is a gap of 4 years. So my student is facing a backlog in terms of curriculum of 7 years. Is he a marketable product when he comes out of the institution? That issue needs to be dealt with. In today's era, when we talk of quality product, we have to be dynamic in terms of curriculum design. We have to be proactive in terms of curriculum implementation. In terms of infrastructure, we have to keep the pace with the best of the institutions. As of now, I am talking in the Indian context only. I am not talking in the international context or the global context, where MIT is much on the higher footing what our IITs are. If you look at the general surveys and ratings, none of my institution find place in the first 200 institutions of the globe. Although reasons may be different, not purely academic or the way of the judgment or the benchmarking. It's something varies from an individual to individual or surveyor to surveyor. But for public perception, generally speaking, none of Indian institution is finding a place in the top 200 institutions of the globe. Even in the Indian context, after IIT, NITs and few of the state colleges, if we really talk of a quality institution, there are hardly any few names which come to the mind. For some people, it may be Vellore. For some people, it may be Manipal. I don't think, even after establishment of more than 20 years of MET and other so-called big groups, they are able to match, at least in the mind of people, perception of their parity with the state level or IIT level institutions. Have we tried to analyze why? Or is public perception wrong? As far as my belief goes, the perception of the society is always correct to a major extent. There may be minor follies here and there. Generally speaking, society perceives an institution in a rightful manner. And as of now, they are not perceiving the 85% of the self-financing institutions as of quality institutions. Some people term them as teaching shops. Some people talk of commercial establishment. Some people say it's a mushrooming of the institutions, and so on. The only point I talk of, if today I am interested, Manish, you have to assure the quality of these institutions. Then what to do, how to do, that is a question which we need to answer. And anybody can undertake this kind of an exercise with reference to their own institution. One thing is very fundamental in nature. I have no control over the input of the material, the input coming to my system. Whenever we discuss, lot of people talk of स्कूल में पढ़ाई नहीं होती है, स्कूल में करिकुलम ठीक नहीं था, बच्चे बोर्ड में नकल मार के पास हो गए, बच्चों को तो ग्रेस दे के अपग्रेड कर दिया, 12वीं का सर्टिफिकेट दे दिया, and so on. But am I empowered to intervene or interfere with the school education system? That is the point number one. Point number two, am I able to apply control on the students entering into my system? I am not. I cannot. Reason being, the seats available with me are more than the students applying to take my admission at my place. So one thing is for definite. I have to live with the same kind of input which I am getting. What I am left with? I am left with my academic processes. Now I come to my academic processes. My very first step of academic process is my human resource, my faculty. What faculty I am getting to teach? One thing is again very fundamental in nature. The top of the engineers or the IIT product, generally speaking, moves abroad for commercial or software assignments. State engineering and NIT's output joins public sector undertakings. State government or government of India services or the larger corporate environment. Who are the people who are coming to me? Either they are the pass out of again same self-financing colleges or maybe few of the state colleges. Now this becomes a very kind of a strange situation. Input was already bad. My human resource is not of the top quality. Here, if I want to improve upon myself, if I want to increase my bar, what I have to do? The very first step would be to enhance the quality of my existing human resource, existing faculty by virtue of training and retraining. Somehow, whenever I see at the most of the colleges, none of institution has taken this task seriously. For most of them, at management level, they feel it's an unnecessary expenditure. At the level of faculty, they feel who to go out, what I am going to learn. I have already undergone this program. I have my personal commitments, and so on. In my opinion, the best of the intervention is going for training in our area of teaching learning at best of the possible institutions. Because whenever we happen to participate in an institution which has got a name, maybe IIM, maybe IIT, or maybe global institution, I don't only learn the classroom teaching learning technique or the knowledge of a particular domain, but I also imbibe the prevailing academic environment and culture of that institution. And when I come back to my institution, equipped with that domain, knowledge domain, the cultural domain, the environmental domain, my delivery automatically becomes improved. And if my delivery becomes improved, my academic process is of the enhanced quality. The impact of this enhancement is visible to my taught, to my pupils, to my future product. And if you look at the few of the institutions which have excelled in spite of this constraint, one of the major reasons had been the freedom of the faculty to upgrade themselves academically. They have liberally sponsored their faculty for short-term programs, long-term programs. If you look at the NITTTR, the modular program has been instrumental, the sequential MTech modular program has been instrumental in upgrading the skills and knowledge domain of most of the faculty from the self-financing institutions, state government institutions, polytechnics, etc. Few of the universities are also offering now PG programs which are weekend based. Those can also be utilized to upgrade. Similarly, IST operates or organizes a number of summer and winter schools. IITs, NITs, IIMs, they offer number of short-term courses in various domains. And the government is trying its best to support the faculty training and development by various means so that quality of the overall system can be the best. Now look at the another folly. my basic focus, because my understanding of the system is system consists of human beings. The human being is either the student or the teacher. Rest of the things are very minor. We come out of our engineering college or our management school, B school, and we join an institution as a teacher, as a professor, as a lecturer, as assistant professor, as a faculty. We have not been exposed to that system. Nobody tells us how to design the curriculum, how to implement the curriculum, how to use chalk, how to use teaching aids, how to understand your student, how to counsel, how to set a question paper, what I am supposed to test, what is the objectivity of the subject which I am taking, whether my evaluation is correct or not, whether my communication is appropriate or not. Nobody teaches me. While anybody who is joining any industry, whether it is even government civil services, government engineering services, telecommunication services, everybody has got a training center. Civil servants are trained at Mussoorie. Telecom people are trained at Jabalpur. Tax people are trained at Nagpur. Police people are trained at Hyderabad. Siemens has its own training division. L&T has got its training division. Talk of any. If somebody is not having, they have made arrangements with the training houses. But if you look at any teacher, the day he joins the college, his head of a department gives him a chalk, attendance register and duster and asks him, this is your timetable and go to the class. You don't train him. He may be a very good engineer. He may be a very good scientist. But is he a good teacher? Is he equipped with the teaching skill? Or teaching doesn't need a skill? Teaching is merely an art, which we all have naturally. I don't think answer is positive. If we really want to improve upon quality, the one aspect, important aspect would be whenever new faculty or batch of new faculty joins the institution, they must be sent for induction training program. The duration may vary, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 10 days, as per the learner needs or the delivery methodology. But one has to. And second, I already talked how to train and retrain to various short-term courses and long-term training programs. Now, who to assure my quality? Is it myself? I say my quality is good. Is it somebody my superior who say quality is good? Is it the societal perception which says quality is good or what my quality is? Or I have to get evaluation from some particular authority or an agency that I am good? In my opinion, there are all the methodologies which can be prescribed and subscribed to. By virtue of law, in Indian context, it is not mandatory to have a quality assurance. As of now, it is not mandatory. When I talk of mandatory, I mean by force of law. As far as AICTE Act goes, it doesn't bind you to have accreditation or to have quality assurance. Although of late, due to expansion of technical education to a large extent and society having a negative view of it, some of the governments or the universities have come up in two ways. Number one, their own benchmarking or evaluation about the quality. Or secondly, they are forcing by virtue of executive order to have compulsorily go for quality assurance. But as far as my understanding goes, neither the enforcer is serious nor the takers are very serious even about this particular thing. So I start from the level ground. First of all, I try to evaluate my own quality as a teacher. Am I doing justice? Is my customer satisfied? I try to have feedback from the students, from the peers, and I try to improvise myself accordingly. Second step may be at the departmental level, where how the department goes into individual working, evaluates the working of an individual, collates at the departmental level, and try to improve upon that level. Third may be at the level of institution, where the principal and the management undertakes the similar exercise. Once we are through that level, then I think we may go for an evaluation, maybe informal, through any external agency. They rate me, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, how I can improve upon my weaknesses. And once I am through that exercise, through that iteration, then I may go for accreditation by National Board of Accreditation, the empowered agency as of now in the country, established by All India Council for Technical Education under Ministry of HRD, to go for this accreditation. If I am a university, then definitely I look forward. There's a very similar kind of a thing from NAAC. Some people, when I talk of quality assurance, few of my friends, especially from the management, say, "Sir, we have got ISO certification." Dear friends, ISO certification is something which is altogether on a different footing vis-a-vis when I talk of quality assurance, especially in reference to the educational institutions. Because ISO basically pertains to your documentation and the record keeping. While on the other hand, when I talk of quality assurance in technical education system, I largely focus on the teaching learning processes and the systems. Documentation is definitely part of it, record keeping is definitely part of it, but my focus is larger on the teaching learning process. That's why it involves a lot of subjectivity, because the assessor may view your methodology in his or her own manner. There are few contradictions also. If you try to go through the past 5-7 years of accreditation processes of NBA or accreditation, I would put it accreditation outcome of the few of the institutions, you will find NBA has given a grade A to a particular institution, or they don't rate institution for a particular program. On the other hand, if you look at the choice of admission of the students, you may not find it anywhere. On the other hand, NBA has refused to accredit. The institution department withdrew before the accreditation because they were going to be rejected. And you find that it as a first choice of the students while making the admissions. So there are inherent contradictions and conflict within the processes also. Why it is so? Again, it's an issue of a big introspection. In Indian context, the institution which have got branded by virtue of their historical existence, liberal government funding, and excellent placement. In these institutions, people don't bother about the processes. That is not of the major concern, because at the end of the day, what my objective is, when I enter into an engineering college, or parents put their what to an engineering college, what their objective is. My son or daughter comes out with the flying colors, absorbed in the campus placement, and you look at any branded college, 100% of the students are whosoever are desirous, willing, and no supplementaries, they got absorbed. Look at any institution, whether it's Punjab Engineering College, Delhi Engineering College, Thapar. People don't bother about the processes. Now look at the similar situation of self-financing colleges. Some of them are doing their best of the processes, but the on-campus placement is not of that level. There is no liberal funding. For the NBA accreditation, they might have done well, but the societal perception doesn't put them on the same footing. There are few anomalies, and I think they will correct on their own self with the passage of time. None of methodology, quantified or qualified policy can remove this conflict. Here I would like to add one more thing. Slowly we are moving towards ABIT and fulfillment of Washington Accord, so that our accredited institutions are accepted for vertical as well as horizontal movement in the global scenario. It would be a very welcome step if it so happens. As of now, most of our candidates have to appear again in the examinations for the purpose of admission to the prestigious institutions abroad, because they don't rate our institutions at their level, and nor they accept the accreditation rating of NBA as of now. But I hope the ice may be broken within another 6 or 8 months when this Washington Accord is signed. I don't know how many of you have participated in the accreditation process or have seen the accreditation process. But if you look at the accreditation process, there is a slight difference between program to program. For example, a polytechnic program has a different scale, an engineering program has a different scale, PG program has got a different scale, management program has got a different scale. There is a variation, little bit of here and there in terms of quantification or the weightages of the parameters. But broadly speaking, the major most focus is resting with the teaching learning process, your pedagogy, your curriculum design, your curriculum implementation, profile of your faculty, research papers, journals in which they are published, impact factor, patents, R&D facilities, R&D outcome, alumni response, placement level, kind of input, transparency in the examination process, quality of your examination process, your laboratory standards. All these are the broad parameters on which quality assurance is done for any technical education institutions. And even in ABIT, there is no much of the change. Basic parameters almost are on the same premise when we try to evaluate any technical education system for the purpose of the quality assurance. So my dear friends, you all must undertake your own evaluation, then your peer evaluation, then departmental evaluation, then institutional evaluation, and try to rate on the scale which may be self-designed by you, giving the weightages to the parameters as you think and deem fit, and then see where you stand. Once you are through with that, and then in second iteration, you correct yourself, you try to make the changes, you try to fill the gaps, you would find yourself to be in league in with any of the good institutions which we all usually take as a benchmark in our Indian technical education context. I would like to put focus here on one thing very forcefully. If we don't do that, then I'm sorry, people may reject your technical education system. That is something which is happening in the society. If you really look at the number of applications being submitted for a BSc program or for a BCom program, that is much higher than the applications being received for your MBA program or for engineering program. There is a ratio of 1:12 or 1:15 for BSc or BCom. I'm not talking of Delhi University, please. I'm not talking of Mithibai College, Bombay, or Loyola College, Chennai. I'm talking at taluka level, where there is only one government college, at district or a sub-district level. For last 3 or 4 years, there is a huge or mad rush. They have added the, in Panchkula, they have added 4 sections for BCom program. This kind of thing is happening in common. And I think people perception about our quality aspect is one of the major reasons for this kind of diversification. Other than the natural cyclic process through which any system passes at various stages of the time. Few of the things are at very macro level. When we started in this technical education expansion, we had a vision of growth rate of 9%, 12%, and so on and so on. Global economy was doing well. Now we are operating at the level of 5%. Global economy is much lower than what ours is. The IT, which was one of a time at its big boom, that has collapsed to a major level. There has been economic uneveness across the globe, fallout of Lehman Brothers and so on, so on. This outsourcing business which you are getting is also on the downslide. The manufacturing base from Indian soil has to shift it to the China. These are the few of the macro reasons where the attraction towards engineering has gone down due to some poor response of the placement. But that is not the sole reason. Still, the important factor in the mind of general public is my quality outcome. And one more important point I would like to touch. I would like to link my efficiency of my system with the quality of the system. At what efficiency level you are operating? When I talk of efficiency of a system, the number of candidates entering into a system at a particular year and number of students passing out after completion of their normal academic schedule. I'm sorry to say, I'm not going to name any institution, but across the country, across the states, across the institutions, the efficiency is varying from 12% to 35%. Now look, as a parent, none of the self-financing institutions imparts degree engineering program less than 60,000 rupees per annum on an average. 2,40,000 is the institution charge. And his other expense in today's scenario are no less than 3,000 per month. Roughly it works out to be 1 lakh rupee per annum, 4 lakh rupees for a degree engineering program. What is our annual income per capita? 32,000 rupees if I'm not wrong. Even with this large population of aspiring middle class with 2 kids to be educated, if at the same time the 8 lakh rupees is not a small amount which one can dispense with, and after spending that much you are not sure whether your ward would able to get the degree or the diploma or the MBA. What to talk of job? That is secondary. Primary is the degree for which he or she has been admitted to the institution. That is in question. Ultimately, dear friends, howsoever you perceive the quality, whatsoever your definition of quality is, whatsoever parameters lay in your mind vis-a-vis quality, because as I told earlier, quality is a relative concept. We all perceive it in a different manner. There is nothing absolute about it, but still, quality is a term which is important to all of us, to service provider, to service getter. There may be degrees of difference the way we perceive, how we perceive, but we all perceive what quality is. You have to come out with the delivery of the quality product, and quality product means quality processes, because the input is beyond your control. So you have to have only got to work with the academic processes to improve upon your quality. Questions? How we can
ask them by center name.
Achha.
So GIT.
I can have a seat. Even I can join you. So, well, friends, you have listened to a talk on quality assurance and technical education. And first, I would like to compliment Mr. Jindal, because he has given a new orientation to the topic which I have heard number of times, and he has taken up and touched every element in the education system which needs qualitative improvement, and the role of the teachers themselves, what best can be done to improve upon the quality of academic processes, to improve the quality of output from technical education. Now friends, the house is open for discussion. So let me invite questions from BIT first. So any audience member or any faculty member would like to ask a question to the expert. Over to BIT. Hanji, please. Are you able to hear me? Ha, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Please. Go ahead.
No.
नो तो नहीं चलेगा, फिर मुझे पूछना पड़ेगा. बोलिए किसी का तो होगा. Just have ask the other participants, ma'am. पूछ लीजिए. Anything which you would like to supplement, any feedback you would like to provide, or any view you would like to place before the audience. Hanji, go ahead. No?
No, ma'am.
आप पीछे छुड़ा लेते हो जल्दी से. Okay. Hanji, okay. Over to Jaipur Institute of Technology.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
If we staff of students are very weak, means like from rural background, then how we can improve them?
That's a bridge program. As we understand and appreciate, as of now, today we are getting rural, backward, poor students in terms of their academic performance at 10+2 level. But even prior to that, when the only good students were entering into higher technical education system, there was a kind of heterogeneity between various groups in a particular class. That may be sometimes a kind of a reservation system in which our Indian system operates, or the language had been a big difficult issue, because our teaching instruction at higher education level is English, and the students had been joining the system from the taluka level, from rural level or semi-urban settings, who were taught in the real kind of government schools where the major instruction was only in the Hindi language. It was difficult for them to cope up in that particular language, of a particular language, I mean English, in which we impart our higher education instruction. we had a concept of the bridge program, where we used to identify the major lacunas of the students coming to our system, and we try to rectify those kind of lacunas with the help of a bridge program, which used to operate from the time of admission, immediate after admissions, to 30 days or 45 days or 4 weeks, 6 weeks, depending upon the requirement and the leverage available in the academic session. And as a Joint Director Technical Education Haryana, with the assistance of NITTTR, we designed particular curriculum of this bridge program for diploma level students for language, mathematics and physics, which we undersee as a major starting point to an engineering diploma program, because as a technical education system at state level, we govern only the diploma part in terms of academic curriculum, so we could participate in it. Similarly, we requested our universities, affiliating universities, to undertake the similar kind of exercise at their level. What I understand, we all generally know what our student lacks with, because if we don't know, still you can understand by their first semester examination results how they are performing in maths, in what topics they are performing poorly, are they not able to understand the quadratic equation or differential equation or basic integration. In language, they don't know the basic verbs or nouns or sentence forming, or in the physics, they lack optics, or they lack basic electronics, or they lack basic semiconductor physics. We can identify those few of the topics. We may organize, and I would here focus on one thing: let's have bilingual kind of an instruction, at least in the bridge program. And as soon as we deliver our 1 hour or 2 hour lecture of the bridge program, we immediately have a feedback session, what all they have got. And as soon as any student joins your institution, you may have a training need analysis, putting 2 hours by virtue of a multi-choice or 5 rated sheet where they fall. They feel themselves to be poor, they themselves feels to be satisfactory, average or above average or good in any particular area. We can identify 5, 7, 10 kind of a basic skill set for all the subjects. We can rate them, we can organize and define our bridge program, deliver the bridge program, and then shift to the regular teaching learning process. In my opinion, it won't able to give you the 100%, but still, as an experiment, as a pilot, we may get 20-25% improvement in the system. That's what my perception is. Although experience, I haven't also experienced the outcome of this particular thing in the recent past, the impact, but still, it's my gut feeling that we are likely to get very good results. I would like to add another point here. If you look at the university examinations, most of the time they are repetitive in nature. You usually ask 8 questions, you are supposed to attempt 5 questions. All units are predefined, that weightages of this unit is so and so on. So if the students' basics are corrected at the time of entry, then it becomes easy for them to grasp basic curricula, and then they are able to deliver in the examination accordingly. Now the problem lies, he doesn't get what all you teach him in the classroom. So he's unable to write anything in the examination. That's my answer for it.
I would just add that in addition to what he has said, this is a trend now in many of the states. And,
Thank you, sir.
technology can come a very important role here. If you can create a digital content which can be utilized by the students, and again, these deficiencies can be overcome. Even the academic processes which continue in the colleges, if those are recorded and those are made available to the students, even they can help the students to review the classes, or if they have missed a class, they can review the class, and certainly their performance can improve upon. So any other question from College of JIT or College of Engineering? Yes?
Hello,
Anchi,
good
ma'am.
noon, ma'am. This
Good
is Ati
morning.
from Swami Vivekanand.
Okay, Boliye, please.
Ma'am, my question is, we had discussed the quality improvement program in academics, but generally we see here that students are also attracting towards the infrastructure of the institution. So in that case, what we can do to show student interest in the colleges which are having good academics rather than having good infrastructure.
Thank you.
Young lady, your point is very relevant because your infrastructure is the first interface of the student with the institution. That is the reason if somebody just looks at the building and he says, oh, what a fine building, so it must be a good institution. When as a parents of a prospective ward, we visit an institution, we don't interact the classroom. What we interact with? We interact with the institution building and some of the material lying within that building. We just happen to see, if I am a learned engineer, I recognize, oh, they are having a UTM, they are having a boiler, they are having CROs, they are having microwave bench, and so on. If somebody is rustic parent, oh yeah, they have got a big model, big setup, big workshop. These are few of the indicators which do impress at the starting point. But again, it's a kind of a cosmetic thing, which doesn't last for long. Yeah, your continuing branding or market is likely to go haywire. Maybe after 1, 2, or 3 batches, you cannot survive only on the basis of building. Vice versa, you can survive for a very long period even without having a good building, but good academic processes or good faculty delivery. That much I can assure you. And that is the reason I cannot quote on the record, because I had been a part and parcel of the government. But again, I don't like admitting this particular thing. There are many of the government colleges which have not changed their equipment or the infrastructure for last 40 years.
Yes, sir.
Still, they are attracting the best of the student.
Right.
The building has not been painted for last 15 years.
Yes, sir. True.
No room has been added.
Yes.
No library has been digitized.
Even rooms are leaking in
Seepage, leaking, smelling foul toilets,
Yes, sir.
all those kind. But they are attracting the best of the talent in terms of faculty as well as in terms of students.
Thank you, sir.
So you can simply say good infrastructure is a necessary condition but not a sufficient condition. And for that matter, you need to have good faculty who's very competent, resourceful, so that quality output can be produced. Any more questions from the center? Yes?
No,
See?
ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So College of Engineering Indore, if you have any question. Oh, sorry. JIT? If we have any question from the JIT, Jaipur University?
No, ma'am.
No question.
No, ma'am.
JIT at present, somebody is now. Yes? No? Okay. So friends, as announced yesterday, we are entering into the last session, that is valedictory session of the program. Are you all ready with that valedictory session? And before that, let me propose a formal vote of thanks to Mr. Manish Chindal, the registrar from Malvi National Institute of Technology, Jaipur. I'm extremely thankful to you for accepting our invitation to be with us and deal with this very important aspect, which is a major concern with the stakeholders in the technical education system. And I'm very, very delighted to listen to you, because the way you have dealt with the topic, a new orientation, and you have posed so many questions which will remain in the mind of the audience, and they would like to find an answer to the questions which were a very integral part of your presentation. And I think if as teachers, as the participants of the program, we have been looking at this question and trying to find out answer to these questions, certainly we are going to find solution to the quality issues which are being faced by all of us, and will be able to contribute our might to improving the quality of technical education. So thank you very much for being with us, and we look forward to having many more such interactions in future too. So friends, I would request, I think at BIT we have received the chief guest. What about College of Engineering? Hanji, College of Engineering, Indore.
Hello.
Hanji, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. We have a chief guest, Mr. Prasant Panse. He is head of the department IT,
Okay.
Information Technology Department.
IT. Okay. Mr. Prashant, आगे क्या बोला आपने?
Mr. Prasant Panse.
Thank you very much. And BIT, ma'am, अपने साथ कौन है as a chief guest?
We have Professor R.L. Khosa, Director Planning and Development.
ठीक है जी, ठीक है. Okay. And JIT?
Ma'am, we have Mr. Ravi Goyal, sir,
And G?
Director, JIT.
Director. Thank you very much. So friends, let's enter into the last valedictory session of the program, and I, on behalf of National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research, extend welcome to the four distinguished guests who are with us. Mr. Prashant Pranse, the head of the department IT at Swami Vivekanand College of Engineering, Indore. Professor R.L. Khosa, Director Planning and Management at Bharat Institute of Technology, Meerut. And then we have with us Mr. Ravi Goyal, the Director, Jaipur Institute of Technology at Jaipur. So, and Mr. Manish Jindal, the Registrar, MNIT, Jaipur, who is with us at ETV Studios at NITTR. Let me, because I think most of the distinguished guests are familiar with what has transpired, but let me just give you a brief orientation, what we have actually done for the past 5 days. The very first day started with sessions on the curriculum implementation, because once the curriculum is designed and developed, it starts with the curriculum implementation. So what are the principles that need to be taken into account while implementing effective, while ensuring effective implementation of the curriculum in technical institutions. After that, the session on e-content generation and distribution was taken up, because we are living in a digital age. So focus was to orient the teachers regarding the open source softwares which are available and which they can integrate in their teaching learning, producing digital content, utilizing it. Even they can record their live session and then make those live sessions available to the students for facilitating learning. Then we had focused on, because a teacher is primarily responsible delivery in the classroom situation, how to plan, organize, deliver and implement and evaluate instruction effectively. And we had detailed deliberations on some of the components such as systematic planning for instruction, then going to the setting of theory papers and planning and organizing practical work, integrating these with some of the skills those are required by the teachers themselves, that is oral communication, and some of the competencies which need to be developed among the students like creativity, entrepreneurial skills. Those we have taken up, what a teacher can do to develop these skills among the students. And then we had some general issues related to technical education, such as sustainable development and the role of teachers. So what can be done at the institute level so that we are able to sustain our environment, and also we can contribute to sustainable development of technical education. Then we had a session on today, we had on quality assurance, which is a very bigger or major, or we deal with this issue at the macro level, and there also the teachers have to play a very, very important role, as said by the expert himself, that you design your own questionnaire and you try to find out where you stand with respect to the various parameters of quality, and then try to find out how you can improve upon, bring modification in the academic processes to bring qualitative improvement in the output. So, and in addition to that, as we all are aware, yesterday we had a 2-hour session where we had invited industry personnel at various nodal centers, and we had listened to them regarding their expectations, and these are really, I would say, eye-openers for all of us, because the quality of output is least acceptable. Though our students are getting into the world of work, but either they are underemployed or they are taking up jobs which have nothing to do with the core areas of their specialization, and they are underpaid also. They are underpaid also. So what is it that why this scenario is there? One has to analyze, reflect back, and find solution to these problems. So with these words, this is the brief orientation. Now I would request the local coordinators to request 2 to 3 faculty members who have attended the program to provide their feedback with regard to their experience of participating in this 5 days induction training program through ICT. So first I'll move on to JIT. Can we listen to the feedback from the participating teachers? Yes. Jaipur Institute of Technology, may I request?
Yes, ma'am.
Anji, kindly request 2 to 3 faculty members to provide the feedback.
Okay, ma'am. Good noon, ma'am.
Morning.
Hello.
Anji, hello.
Good noon, ma'am. Myself, Dr. Rachna Khandelwal from JIT.
Anji, please.
I attended all the 5-day sessions, and I feel very much happy to attend this section, because before that some fields are not known to me, that if I adopt these things in my teaching, then I can improve my teaching or deliver more effectively my lectures. Especially I had creative innovation session, setting question paper session, and e-content generation media tool session. And one more thing, expectation of a technical industry section, by which I come to know what our students are missing when they are going for industries and all over other institutes or for jobs. So I am very thankful to you for giving us such opportunity to attend these type of program. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rachna. Now any other members who would like to provide?
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Well, this program is being very helpful for the technical teachers who are going to increase their quality for teaching the students in the engineering classes regarding the subject clarity, basic learning of the basic understanding of the subject when elaborating the classrooms, and to motivate the students before coming in the classroom to prepare something about the lectures, prepare about the topics. Also, it is gives us a very good pattern that how to set the question papers and what will be the level of the question papers after making after teaching the classes in unit tests, or after making for making the papers in midterm examinations also. In spite of this, the communication skill class which has been taken by you today gives us a very immense thing, that what types of the communication which should have to be uses, so that the student can understand it in easy language, easy manner. the yesterday last program, which was with the industry interaction session, in that case also industrial experts has suggested us that what should have to be cares that taken to the student when they are going to the for summer training or when they are making their projects. The one session which has been taken by the Punya sir, in which the institutional leadership has been tells us that when we are going to the managerial section or management part or administrative posts, we must have to be taken care about the listening and speaking of very good and present effective manner. So, on behalf of this such a way, our teachers view at Jaipur Institute of Technology Center has learned a lot of things so that they can apply in their teaching skills, and in future we hope that our skills is going to be increased much more, and we expect such more programs from your side and through our help. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much. May I know your name? आपका नाम?
Ma'am, myself Alok Kumar Singh.
ठीक है जी. Thank you very much. हाँ जी, ma'am. Any other member would like to give the feedback?
Hello.
हाँ
No,
जी.
ma'am. That's all.
Thank you very much, Institute of Technology, and thanks for the word of appreciation which you have spoken for the program, and you have also given me the feedback regarding which sessions actually you enjoyed the most. And but one thing is common, that there has been some improvement or enhancement in knowledge, which you can now apply in the classroom situation and bring change in the quality of instruction that is being offered in the technical institution. So over to College of Engineering, Swami Vivekanand, Indore.
Hello.
Hanji, please.
Yeah, good noon, ma'am. This is Pradeep Rusia, coordinator from Swami Vivekanand College of Engineering, Indore.
जी, Professor Rusia, बोलिए.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank you all for providing us such wonderful platform to improve our teaching skill. Definitely, it will give us. Definitely, we will impart our teaching skill in the classroom in better way. And I mostly like the session that is intellectual property rights and oral communication, which was very good and very useful for us. We know very new thing that we come to know very new thing in that session.
Thank you very much. Any other member of the audience would like to provide the feedback?
Yes. I would like to forward my mic to Mr. Saurabh Jain, sir.
Hanji, sir, please.
Hello, this is Saurabh Jain.
Good afternoon.
I am head of the Department of Electronics Engineering here.
Okay, sir.
And actually, what I tried to convey is conveyed by all. All my previous speakers spoke about all the sessions in brief. But I especially like the session Creativity and Innovation. It was delivered by Dr. Rakesh Vats on 11th. And it was very new to us. And many new things we understood by it. And the humor he created by choosing that topic would be beneficial for us for delivering our lectures. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the words of appreciation, and this will be conveyed to Dr. Vats. Okay, so now I come to the Bharat Institute of Technology, and I request that 2 to 3 faculty members may be requested to provide the feedback.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Rachna Arora from BIT and working as Assistant Professor in Humanities Department. First thing I would like to say that I would like to congratulate NITTTR and all the participants for attending such a successful workshop of 5 days that was highly illuminating all of us. The second thing that I would like to highlight is that it was a multidisciplinary workshop, which is very important for the present scenario. Enlightening ourselves only in one direction is not needed now. We need to be multidisciplinary, and I find that the workshop of 5 days it was multidisciplinary. Like the best I liked was the leadership lecture given by Mr. Dr. M.P. Punya, and then there was a question setting section by Dr. S.P. Bedi, and then even IPR, which is a very relevant topic for the present context or scenario. And most of us were unaware about the IPR, and we got a very good lecture by Dr. Sunil Dutt. And your lecture, most probably the oral communication skills, though we are teaching communication, but still we had so many different dimensions got today from you. And really all these sessions were enlightening. One suggestion here I had, that the panel section, that the industry panel session, that I feel that the panel should be invited by NITTR there.
Okay.
So that it's very clear, because the participants from the other different areas, they were not very clear and not very audible and not very clear. But when we interact with you, it's quite clear.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Rachna Arora. I think you have given me a suggestion and we would like to work upon it. Earlier, we used to invite 2 to 3 industry personnel at our end also. But then over a passage of time, we have tried to deviate from that. But your suggestion is well taken, and in future you will find that we'll have 1 or 2 experts with us also. So
thank you
very much. And now any other member from BIT would like to say a few things?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Hanji, I'll come back to you, College of Engineering. Hanji. BIT, G please.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
I would like to welcome all the distinguished guests from different centers and the guests from our college also. And firstly, I would like to congratulate NITTR and ICT for conducting such a great workshop of 5 days. And in this, all the faculty members from our college has learned a lot. The important sessions are e-content generation media tools, which is being conducted by Dr. M. Datta. There we people came to know about the new tools which are used for generating e-contents, and as we people are living in an era of IT sector, so students are keen to learn the things from internet. So if we people are providing those students with the facility of generating e-contents, and the student should keen to learn and get the stuff from web itself. Besides that, the session from the industry people was very, very good, and I would like to thank you for conducting such a session, and we people came to know about many things from the industry people, that what industry is looking for in the students. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, do we have any other member who would like to provide the feedback?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to say
please,
something.
Please.
I am Sunil Yadav and I am representing MBA department.
Okay.
First of all, I would like to say good afternoon to all those who are hearing me, and I would like to congratulate NITTR on conducting such a great workshop for us. To be very honest, I would like to say that initially when I got registered for this, I was having an apprehensions that why an MBA faculty is coming to such kind of lectures when it is related to the technical teachers.
Okay.
But because I am a man of a positive thought, so with a belief I say kuch na hoga to tajurba hoga. So with that statement I got registered myself. Workshop. But as this workshop grew, I found because I was not having this timetable or schedule for this workshop initially, but when I have looked into the schedules and the lectures, so I feel that yes, it is a great learning for everyone, not for the technical teachers only, but for all departments. So coming up to various sessions which we have attended, I would like to say the curriculum implementation session was very good, but ये बेईमानी हो जाएगा मेरे एंड पे कि मैं किसी एक को तारीफ कर दूं और बाकियों को छोड़ दूं. तो मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा in a nutshell that every session was fantastic. IPR session I enjoyed a lot because this is my area of interest.
Okay.
And setting up question paper session.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a great one.
Okay.
She has done a great job. Coming up to the e-content session, generation and distribution, I am very weak in that, and I was not aware of how to do all these activities and how I will implement. I am not sure right now.
Okay.
But what I can say, preliminary, I can say that I will try and I will take help of Mr. Vishal, as he has said, because he is from the MCA department. And I will definitely go to him and I will ask how I can incorporate this in my teaching. Yeah.
Okay.
But in the last, I would like to say that yes, this will definitely help or improve my teaching methodology. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sunil Yadav. And I'm happy that you have made that statement. Agar kuch nahi hoga, to zarba to hoga. So this particular learning experience, I think it's a learning experience for both the experts on this side and the teachers on that side. We also try to learn from what the questions you have been raising throughout the interaction that has taken place. And it is a learning experience for anyone who participates in this kind of deliberation. Now, if there are no more participants who would like to provide the feedback, yeah, College of Engineering wanted to say something. Indore.
Hello. Yeah, ma'am, we have some few more participants who want to give the feedback.
Okay. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
I am Deepika Chauhan from Computer Science Department, Swami Vivekanand College of Engineering. As I am a fresher in the field of teaching, I especially like the oral communication and paper setting session, which is very helpful for improving my technical skills in teaching.
Thank you very much, Deepika, for being positive. Yes. Any other member? That's it? Okay.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Mala Pathak from SVC Indore. First of all, we are very thankful to NITTT at Chandigarh for organizing such kind of activities. We would like to be the part of this initiatives in future too. All the sessions were very enlightening and fruitful, especially the session delivered by Dr. Punia. We hope that in future we can organize such fruitful activities for our students too. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And I think your point is well taken. We are thinking of floating specialized program for the students, maybe these kinds of program, or where there are common sessions, they can also attend the sessions being organized in program. We have simply made a beginning in this direction by joining hands with all of you, and we wish to continue this association for times to come. Now, friends, I would like to, because this is what the participants have to say. Some have spoken very good of the program, some of the sessions. On the whole, I think we have come up to your expectations, and we would like to improve upon the areas where you have given us suggestion with respect to panel sessions or with respect to other sessions where some changes are to be incorporated. And the sessions which you have enjoyed the most, the other faculty members would certainly like to incorporate those changes whereby they can also come up to your expectations. Now, with these words, I would request all the coordinators that were already sent evaluation performer to all the centers, kindly get that evaluation performer filled in by all the teachers who have participated in the program. And when you are submitting the bills of expenditure, along with that, you can send the evaluation performer. I hope you have already uploaded the certificates of participation on the Institute website, because this process next week we'll try to download the certificate, get them signed by the respective coordinators and the director, and then we'll be able to send the certificate of participation. Now, friends, I take this opportunity to first request Mr. Professor Prashant Pranse from College of Engineering Indore, who is the chief guest with us at Swami Vivekanand College of Engineering, to say few words in the valedictory session of the program.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This is Prashant from Swami Vivekananda College of Engineering, Indore. I'm the head of the Department of IT. And as I saw the technological revolution, like person sitting in Chandigarh enjoying, they are together, Indore person, Jaipur person, Meerut person. So definitely this particular step will improve the skills of the teachers around the country. Even in future, as you already told us, you have a session for students also, and if the students will enjoy this kind of session, definitely they will improve their knowledge, and it will be better for the industry also. As in your program you have a panel discussion with the different industry persons, and definitely they will raise their demands, so that the engineering colleges can meet that particular level, and the bridge will be formed between the colleges and the industry, and it will be definitely good for our country. So thanks a lot for such a nice, wonderful function. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Professor Prashant. And the idea which you have thrown is, we are also already working on that, a panel discussion especially, where we can have the interaction of the students with the industry personnel. We are trying to finalize that, and once it is finalized, we are going to float that, and maybe that will be where we have 8 to 9 centers connected to us, and the students of final year, they are participating in that, and industry personnel are trying to provide answers to the queries of the students. So direct interaction between the students and industry, we are thinking of that, and maybe in near future you will see that we have a panel discussion where that becomes a reality. So thank you very much for joining us in the valedictory session of the program. Now I request Jaipur Institute of Technology and request the chief guest with us to say few words in the program. Jaipur Institute of Technology, we have Mr. Ravi Goyal, the Director of it.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
And good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
First of all, I would like to congratulate to NITTR for organizing such kind of a great learning faculty development program. I hope this kind of program will continue in future also. And this is really a great learning tool and program for technical teachers. But I feel that more emphasis may be given to the industry institute partnership cell, or more interaction between industry and institute experts for future programs. And this program is really fruitful for JIT persons and other institutions, those who are participating in this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Ravi Goyal, for joining us in the valedictory session. And as I said earlier, we are planning to have separate interactive sessions with the industry and academia. So they are on the annual 5 days program. We have devoted 2 hours only. If time permits, maybe we can increase the duration of that interaction. So thank you very much. Now I would take this opportunity to invite Professor R.L. Khosa, the Director Planning and Management at Bharat Institute of Technology, to deliver the valedictory address. Ji sir.
Madam Tulsi, Professor Bansal, Kavita, and their friends. I am sure that this segment of the faculty development program has been fruitful for the participants, who virtually have been glued to their seats during different presentations. I have been observing these activities for quite some time, and I feel that the attempt to transform the raw faculty into faculty of full bloom will be successful in future also. Madam, I am an old timer, and during the course of my interaction with students, I have been stressing that teachers have 2 types of functions. First is the distribution of knowledge, which is normally being done by degree level teachers, and the second is the generation of knowledge that's being done by or executed by university teachers. Finally, everything is well and all is well that ends well. Teachers are happy and we are happy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And I'm so thankful that your comments are inspiring, and we'll continue in our endeavor to do our best and interact with the technical teachers, and whatever are their needs and requirements, we would like to float customized programs to fulfill those requirements of the technical teachers. So thank you very much. Now friends, I request Mr. Manish Jindal, Registrar MNIT, to finally deliver the valedictory address from ETB studio of NITTR to the participants of induction training program through ICT. So over to you.
Thank you, Professor Tulsi, for giving me an opportunity to deliver a lecture as well as to be part of the validity process of this ICT-based induction training program. I have been listening to the feedback, comments, and the observations of the chief guest of today's function. And I hope and I understand everybody is all for this program. I know Professor Tulsi for last 15 years or so. She organizes the program up to the best of her capability. She is into it. When she organizes the program, she chooses best of the people to deliver. And TTI programs on the whole in general are really informative and are interesting. Previously, few years back, we were only confined to the classroom TTI delivery, or they were going to the few of the institutions to organize these programs. But with the use of ICT, they are able to deliver across the country at various centers in a single go. And I had an interaction with the director, Dr. MP Punia. We are likely to add a number of centers as well as the quality of broadcasting by incorporating the latest broadcasting equipment is in consideration as in pipeline. I hope in future that may become as the major tool of delivery and a vast coverage, vast candidates coverage in due course of time. My special thanks goes to Professor Tulsi and Dr. MP Punia for giving an opportunity to the teachers spread across the country to participate and make themselves learned by virtue of these programs. I wish all the best to NITTR and to the participants. Thanks. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much.
And there is a request from DIT Meerut in the last FDP program. I also requested to you to provide us the recorded lectures of various professors who delivered the lecture, and this time I am also requesting you to provide the recorded lectures and also the tool books which were suggested by various professors.
As my request to you would be, all these lectures are available on the YouTube. You can download these lectures from the YouTube, or you can go to NCTEL site, that is NITTR Chandigarh Technology Enhanced Learning. So that site can be explored and you will find a link to all these recorded lectures over there. You can download as many as you wish. Right?
And one was suggested by Professor Datta.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I know. So I'll convey the message to Maitri ji, and I'll request her, because last time I know we have promised you that the CD will be sent to the to the institutions. Yes, I'll again make a request to her. Maybe somewhere in the process we have forgotten that. So I'll just remind her and we'll do the needful. So friends, at the end, let me propose a vote of thanks to Mr. Manish Jindal, Professor R.L. Khosa, Mr. Ravi Goyal, and Professor Prashant at College of Engineering, who have been with us in the valedictory session of the program and who have all applauded the effort made by NITTR and also given us the directions to further improve the quality of our program through ICT. I would like to thank Dr. MP Punia in his absence, whose brainchild is this program, because he is the initiator of throwing training program through ICT for the technical teachers. And in the process, we have not only covered more than 120, 130 institutions, technical institutions through these programs, but we have also ventured into offering technical training program like content matter updating programs for the technical teachers, and civil engineering, computer science and engineering, electronics and communication engineering, mechanical engineering, and other departments. They have collaborated with other organizations to offer content matter updating programs, and Dr. MP Punya himself has set a benchmark by offering the very first content matter updating program on IC engines. All these program recorded lectures are again available on YouTube and NCTEL, and I would request that any member from the technical institution who is keen to have a look at that, learn from those recorded lectures, is welcome to do that. It's all open, free source now, which is available to all of you. I would like to thank the management, the principals, the heads of department who have spared their faculty to undergo this program for the 5 days, and all the teachers. I'm very thankful to them, because without your cooperation, your interaction, this program couldn't be a success. I can go on delivering, but unless and until you participate, you listen, you interact, you provide us the feedback, nothing can be achieved. And the hopes are that whatever minimal learning has taken place at your end, you will try to apply that knowledge in classroom, in the laboratories and the workshop, and bring minor qualitative changes in the academic processes which are in vogue in technical institution. Only then the overall objective of this program can be achieved. So with the hope that some of you would like to introduce innovations in your classroom practices, I think I again thank all of you, and I would like to thank all the people who have worked directly or indirectly for the success of this program, especially the technical people who have been providing untiring support for the implementation of this program at my institute, that is ETV Studio, ETV faculty and staff, and all those technical persons working at the nodal centers, and all those persons who have been providing the support services in terms of water, working lunch, tea, etc., are looking to the comfort of the participants of the program. So thank you one and all. This is just a beginning. This association is likely to grow over the years, and as Dr. Punya always say, that we welcome that any teacher who is willing to record the video lectures in his or her area of specialization is welcome to visit NITTTR with a plan for the content-based programs. Maybe you are teaching electrical engineering, one is teaching mechanical engineering, another is teaching electronics and communication, and you have a specified syllabus, and if syllabus related content needs to be developed and you are keen to do that, you think you have the expertise to do that, maybe the theory component or the practical component, please provide a copy of the proposal to the director of the institute. Then it will be reviewed and you will be invited to record your sessions in the ETV studio for the benefit of students and teachers both. So a very handsome honorarium is also paid to the teachers who work on that. Every video recording session would enable you to fetch 5,000 rupees. So I would say that please take the first step and try to be a partner in this greater initiative which is there taken by the institute to help the faculty, students, management, and also the industry to grow in times to come. So thank you everybody for being there as a partner to this initiative. Thank you. See you in some subsequent program.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
असद बंसल अपनी
नहीं, but what